Welcome back. I'm John Johnson, an attorney at FDAimports.com, and this is Anna Simonton, a paralegal with us at FDAimports.com. Now we're going to proceed to talk about the ingredient list. Now every food has to declare the ingredients on the information panel. The ingredients are declared in descending order by provenance of weight. But the ingredient list is much more than just technically listing all of what's inside of a product. It's a gateway into understanding that product. And FDA, particularly at the import level, looks at that ingredient list as a means of enforcement to go after particularly non-permitted color additives. Now first, your ingredients need to be named by their common or usual name. What we see on here is secret formula juice. Well, that's not the common or usual name of a juice. You need to say something like pear juice or pineapple juice, something so the consumer knows what's inside of it.
But John, would you have to be so specific? I mean, if you have a product that has multiple types of juices in it, couldn't you just declare it in a group declaration, like say juice, and then after that list the specific types of juices, pear, pineapple, peach?
Well, Anna, you hit on something that we do see frequently in food labels, is you can, in specific instances, do compound ingredients, say chocolate. And chocolate, a unique individualized name, has sub-ingredients. And so you can say chocolate and then list sugar, cocoa butter, and so on and so forth. But on the other hand, with juice, and we see this frequently, juice is not the common or usual name for any ingredient because juice is not specific enough. So you really do have to say pineapple juice, pear juice, apple juice, individually and not collectively like you could with chocolate.
Right.
Now, another interesting common mistake we see and FDA looks for are non-permitted ingredients. In some instances, there are poisonous ingredients that FDA is looking for. We see one of these in here, the last one, birthwort leaves. FDA actually will, if they see that ingredient on the import level, they will detain this food because it's a poisonous ingredient.
Now, you mentioned a good point here, but birthwort, birthwort leaves. How do you know that that is a prohibited ingredient? Where do you find that? Because I've myself looked through the regulations and it's not listed as prohibited.
Well, that's a good point. Now, FDA hasn't listed all these non-permitted ingredients in the regulations. Frequently, they're on their website or on like an import alert, such as the case with birthwort, where FDA has decided that a certain ingredient is poisonous or harmful. And so they'll issue an import alert and say anytime that a product is brought in with this ingredient, we're going to detain it and possibly refuse it if certain evidence isn't brought forward because they're worried about the poison in it. In birthwort specifically, there's a special acid that if that acid's present, FDA will refuse it. So our Live Forever juice will probably be refused because of that ingredient. Right. Now we're going to move to color additives. This is perhaps the area that FDA looks at most on an ingredient list. Now color additives have to be approved by FDA for use in foods before a food's allowed to contain a certain colorant. Now if we look at this label, we see a color additive unapproved by FDA. See sodium copper chlorophyll. That's a non-permitted color additive.
But that actual color additive, sodium copper chlorophyll, I've seen on FDA's approved color additive list before. So how come we can't use it as a color additive in this ingredient, or in this product, I mean?
Well, what you see is FDA approves a color additive, but it approves it for specific use. FDA has approved that color additive for specific use as a colorant in dry citrus powder drinks. As you can tell, Live Forever juice is not such a food, so it's a non-permitted color additive. Now, another issue with color additives is they need to be named properly. FDA has a list, and you have to name it according to FDA's established name.
Okay, so if we look at the box here, what would be the established name for red food coloring as it is here? Is that the established name?
No, FDA has various established names. Some of them are like turmeric, in parentheses, colorant. But a lot of them that you're probably used to is something like yellow 5 or yellow 6. Red food coloring is not one of those established names. This is one of the cases where we'd have to go back to the manufacturer and say, what is the specific ingredient that you put in here so we can name it properly to comply with federal regulations.
Now that's interesting though, because going back on what we talked about earlier about the requirement to declare all of the ingredients by their common or usual name, even how just consumers would recognize it. I don't really feel that yellow 5 or red 40 or how the colors are supposed to be declared according to FDA is the common or usual name to a consumer. Red food coloring seems much more adequate.
Well, this is one of those, one may say, kind of not exceptions, but qualifications to the common or unusual name rule, where we talked about that the common or usual name usually isn't established in federal regulations. Here it is. FDA has specified what that name must be and how it must appear. So in this case, it would have to be one of those established names rather than what a consumer in the market may better understand. Now that's just some of the issues present in the ingredient list. This has been John and Anna, and thank you for watching. Please enjoy our other videos.